South Africa take on India in the final test match of the three-match series. It will be at Newlands Cricket Ground, famous stadium, of course. And South Africa are going to be taking on a hungry India, India that is going to look to make history, India that's going to try and beat South Africa for the first time in South Africa, and India that came off a loss at possibly their favorite ground in South Africa, you would say, because they've never lost to South Africa at the Wonders before, and South Africa pulled a magnificent run chase to actually complete that victory at the Wanderers. So South Africa will come in with all the confidence leading into Newlands at a ground I think that suits that particular lineup the best, the one that they picked for the Wanderers. I think that the the team that they picked will suit Newlands more than it would have suited the Wanderers, particularly the extra spinner. But we will chat about lineups, etc., in this particular preview. That's what this preview is about. It's an opportunity for us to chat about who we would like to see in the team, whether we want changes, whether we don't want changes, etc., etc., etc. So, yeah, today's our preview for the third test between South Africa and India, and we're going to have to wait and see what actually happens in this test match. I think it's something that it's exciting. It's a nice for me personally to have the last one in Cape Town. I'm not 100% sure whether I will be going down to the stadium to watch any of the game. I'm still trying to figure that out and trying to decide that, because we try to get the preview up as soon as possible. And with regards to stadium Wi-Fi and a location within the stadium where I can be alone and have a chat with you guys with all my equipment, etc., it's going to be tough for me to find. So I might just do the everything from home as I have been doing in the past during COVID. Um, the COVID protocols and everything in place as well makes it very difficult for us to actually go down to the stadium and be free as we would like to be. Because normally I'd just find a place somewhere quiet in the stands and do it from there. But we won't be doing it like in that way. We'll obviously be doing it from our home. I think it's easier for me to do that because straight after the game is done and broadcasted on TV. But we'll see. Maybe I'll post some pictures from the stadium. Maybe I will go down to some of the game for some of the game, at least for day one at least, and have a look at what it's like over there at the stadium. But let's get straight into today's content, guys. Excited about this one. I hope you guys will enjoy this episode. Get involved in the live chat. Get involved with the super chat as well, please, guys. It helps out a lot in the new year. We would like to get more super chats. So, without further ado, guys, let's get straight into today's content. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Cricket Fanatics magazine, and this is your daily show. I'm your host Khalid, and this is the show where we talk about everything that has to do with South Africa versus India, the third Test match. We are bringing you all the preview for this particular match. But don't forget to subscribe to the channel, click the notification bell, subscribe to Cricket Fanatics magazine monthly as well. Do all of those things. And let's see what happens. Let's start with you, Aditya. What are your thoughts for the game?
I think this is the test match that South African fans would have been waiting for a long period of time, as well as Indian fans, and primarily so because it's a serious decider. Third test match, South Africa have bounced back to win a test match after losing one at Centurion, and now they've got everything to play for. So I think it's going to be 5 days of competitive cricket, and two top teams really battling it out to uh, to win a series. So I have great expectations from this test match, and I just hope that the weather remains consistent. It's a great wicket to play 5 days of cricket on, and I hope that superstars from both teams really turn up um, to provide us with some great entertainment. How's it gonna?
Yeah, Dicha, how are you?
Yeah, very good, man.
Good, good. Yeah, very excited for the finale. I can't remember last time we had a deciding test match. We usually generally get like two matches. If we get three, we're like 0-2 down going into the third one. So it's good to have a straight shootout for a winner and
Yeah,
all to play for. So it should be good.
yeah. I mean, this just thinking about this test match in Cape Town is bringing back a lot of memories that I had from when I watched the New Year test in Cape Town in 2017-18, and I can only imagine how beautiful the Newlands must be looking, but also uh, the nature of the pitch, because I met Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, Rohit Sharma, and Murli Vijay uh, about a day or two before the test match. And I had this picture with Bhuvaneshwar Kumar, and uh, I said to him that if you win the toss, I really hope you guys bowl. And they did. And that man wreaked havoc in the first 10 minutes of that test match. South Africa were 12 for 3. Um, so yeah, I have great memories of just Test cricket in Cape Town in general.
Yeah, and then AB said no, 12-3. That will be that our counter attack now, if I remember correctly. But yeah, I watched. Which game did I watch at Newlands? I think I watched the previous year, the one we played against Sri Lanka, end of 2016, 2017. Yes, I watched that one. It was also quite good. Would have been better watching the India game, but I wasn't in Cape Town at that stage. So, but yeah, it'll be interesting to see how the pitch plays. It'll probably determine what will be our 11 going into the game.
That I agree with. That last but sorry guys, I did have you on loud while I was just busy with something quickly. So the pitch, that is something that we need to talk about. Um, Newlands hasn't been the same type of ground as we are used to normally, from what I've seen in domestic cricket. But with the current weather, it rained today a bit. The forecast so far is showing that there will become some rain, but it's very humid, guys. Like when I say it's humid, I mean it's how Aditya explains India to me all the time. It's like 30 degrees, 33 degrees, but it's raining and it's overcast and it's humid and it's hot. But the actual lighting, if you can look at the light outside, it doesn't necessarily look hot. It doesn't look 33 degrees unless you maybe go further down to Palway, maybe you'll lose the clouds. But currently where we are, especially in the southern suburbs where I am and where Newlands is, of course, um, a bit overcast. Looks like it's going to rain for a couple of days. So it's really going to depend on the weather, I feel, on what's going to happen. The current 11 that was selected for the Wanderers should be the best 11 that we can provide. That's if the conditions are as spinner friendly as I'm assuming it would be. I think that there will be something in it for the spinners on this particular wicket. Now, that might not have been the case every single time in the past, but majority of the time, the spinners did have a role to play in, particularly in Cape Town. The only concern for me and the one major change for me would be Dwan Olivier, because if we're going to let Dwan Olivier play in this particular wicket, where he didn't really have much to say at the Wanderers with that pace, maybe the movement will be better for him personally in at Newlands in these overcast conditions, with the style that is changed with regards to his manner in bowling. You can see that he's changed a lot. It's not that Tuan Olivier that we saw against Pakistan taking 20 odd wickets. It's not the same guy. There's a lot more skill involved with his bowling now, and he's bowling a lot more fuller than he used to in the past. But if we want that extra batter, that's going to be the question. Whether we are going to want that extra batter or not is going to be the key factor when it comes to this particular game, because On the flip side, by playing six batters, the pressure is on them more because now with Quinny not there at the bottom of the order, you kind of they have to perform. Otherwise, they're going to be 120 all out. As a conversation that I had with my friend earlier on, and that's exactly what he told me. He said they're probably going to be 120 all out if they're going to come to the middle and um, if they don't pull their weight because ultimately they've always had some kind of safety bubble or safety mat that they could land on if they lost a quick wicket. So Aiden Markham's going to be key with that opening partnership. We're going to speak about that again. But I don't think it's fair to move KP down one. I mean, moving him down one in Test cricket can make a massive difference, I feel. It makes a big, big difference moving one place in Test cricket. In T20 cricket, I've always been under the impression that the position that you bat is not that as important. I always feel that in T20 cricket that it's got to do with the match situation, and you should be able to maneuver your batters accordingly. Whereas in Test cricket, there's a massive difference between coming down to the wicket with 36 for 2 or 36 for 1 and coming down to the wicket at 120 for 1. There's a massive, massive difference in the two. So I think KP's done well, considering that he's come in the worst possible circumstances for himself recently and scored runs. There should be no need to, once he's settled himself, to now move him. That is my concern. It's like it's uprooting someone that is getting momentum now. Then you're moving him down the order. I feel that doesn't show any confidence in the player. It also doesn't show any trust in why you chose him to be that number 3 batter, which is such an important position in the lineup anyway. So if anybody's going to get swapped out, we would have to go with a 7-4 split. I think that's the only way that this works. Going with the extra batter, maybe dropping Dwan Olafir. If you drop Keshav, I can see you dropping Keshav and playing Dwan Olafir as well. I can see that happening. I'm taking the players of color and all of that out of the equation over here because I don't think we haven't met the transformation requirements anyway in the last couple of test series. Let's just be real about it. But I do think that based on Dwan Olafir, I would drop him and then put a batter instead because I think that we might need Keshav at Newlands. But it's going to...
Will a 4-bowler attack be able to take 20 wickets though?
That's my other concern. Well, but look at it. Four bowlers took wickets at the Wanderers. So Keshav didn't bowl at all almost. So and Dwan Olafir didn't bowl as much anyway. So actually we took wickets with 3.
That's a more bowling friendly wicket, right? Like if by all accounts from what you guys are saying, Cape Town seems to be a more batting friendly wicket. But the concern with a 4-bowler attack is that if one of them has an off day, then or an off test match in general, then you're in trouble. Because you're then relying overwhelmingly on 3 bowlers to do the job for an entire test match. And the great example is what we saw with India at the Wanderers, because Jasprit Bumrah was far from his best, and Mohammad Siraj had injured his hamstring in the first innings itself, so he wasn't the same bowler for the rest of the Test match. So basically, Shardul Thakur and Umesh Yadav, Mohammad Shami had to bear the bulk of the burden in that Test match because Ravi Ashwin again had minimum impact as a bowler. So I think I'm a fan of the 7-4 split in principle, but I feel like if one bowler has an off Test match, then that becomes a bit problematic.
The key would be, because I feel that India also have problems with their batting. And if you can get India down 3 early on, because I feel that the morning sessions at Newlands seem to, in the past, have tended to aid the swing bowlers, or the guys that can find movement. You saw in the past, Vinny Philander was lethal at Newlands. Like, it was very difficult to play him. And that's because of even when he lost his speed, because of the way the ball moved in that opening games. So even Glenton Steerman comes into equation over here. Could he possibly be an option? I mean, we could actually, if we don't want a spinner, we could possibly even drop Keshav and Juan Olivier and then bring in Glenton Steerman and an extra batter. That could also be another option. Looking at it, because yes, that morning session is going to be very important. And we know how good Clinton Steerman is with a new ball, especially in his opening spells. He's extremely, extremely tidy. So that's another option. But when I look at it, and I do trust our batters because I have this blind faith in them that they're going to succeed. And the fact that Calverena is playing at home, I think it gives him it gives me extra trust in him as a batter at this particular venue. Um, but I do have concerns. I can't sit. That's why I'm struggling to decide what my 11 is going to be, because I do have concerns over not having that extra batter in the team. I mean, if Vian Mulder right now was scoring runs, we would be sitting with a much better situation. I feel we would have been sitting with a much more. We would be a lot more calm sitting at the situation. If Aiden Markram's spin ability was more test ready, I wouldn't have been sitting here worried by playing an extra batter. I trust Aiden with regards to T20 cricket, bowling in T20 cricket specifically. I trust him to give us 1 or 2 overs in a T20 match. I don't see him bowling 5 to 10 to 20 overs in a test match. So he might be able to take some pressure off, but I don't trust him enough to be the one holding spinner in this particular side. So we are in a difficult position over here. We are in a tough position. I think South Africa maybe think that trust Keshav's batting and Janssen's batting a lot more than maybe we do as fans. But Werner, what are your thoughts about the 7-4 split specifically? And are you concerned about only having 4 bowlers? How concerned are you?
Like I said, like in my initial statement, it's for me it's going to depend on the pitch. At Centurion and the Wanderers, I would have gone with a 7-4 split, and I would not have played Keshav. I said this before the series started, and I wouldn't have played Keshav at either of the first 2 venues, and I would have played the extra batsman in Rickleton coming in at 7. At Newlands is going to be tricky, because if it is flat and there isn't that much out for the pace bowlers, and let's be honest, we still need our pace bowlers mostly to get us our wickets. I know Keshav is a very good bowler and he'll get wickets, but it'll probably more come in the second innings. And for us to get 20 wickets is still the main goal in the test. So if it's going to be a flatter wicket, because when I think of a Newlands flatter wicket, I think back to that England game where Ben Stokes smashed us for 250 of like under 200 balls, and Bairstow got 150. Like it was almost a 400-run partnership. So I think back to that, and I think, yeah, no, we need the extra bowler. We can't play an extra batsman. But if we turn up on Tuesday, and it looks like it's a lively wicket, and it looks like there will be enough in it for the pace bowlers, then I'd go with the extra batsman, because then I know, okay, 3 paces and a spinner should be enough to be able to get 20 wickets. And I think that's what it's going to come down to. It's going to depend on the wicket. So if you see on the first day, this pitch looks fairly dry, it's not going to hold its moisture for more than an hour, and then it's going to flatten out for the batsman, then I feel we need the extra bowler. But if you pitch up, you see it's green, you think this thing is going to hold together well, it's going to remain rainy throughout the 5 days, so the pitch will probably hold well together, then I'd go with the extra batsman. So I can't say to you now what I think definitely the team should be. I think it's going to be very dependent on what the pitch is. If I would love a 7-4 split, because I think our batting lineup looks too short with Janssen at 7, and I would love to see Rickleton coming in at 7 and Janssen at 8. But as I say, if it's going to be a flatter pitch, I'm worried that if we only have 3 seamers and the spinner, we're going to struggle to get India out, especially because if it is like that, that would be more to India's advantage as well, because that's what their batsmen are used to. So yeah, that's that's where I line it now. It sounds like I'm sitting on the fence, but I'm sitting on how the pitch is.
Yeah, I think I'm also sitting on the fence right now with regards to that. If you have a 7-4 split, then who would you drop and who would you bring in? And if you, because I'm assuming that if you don't have the 7-4 split, you will just keep the the team as exactly the same from the Wanderers.
Possibly. I expect them to go to with an unchanged 11. If we go with a 7-4 split, I would drop Willie Fear and bring Rickleton in. I would definitely keep Kesha for Newlands. There's no way I'm going in to Newlands without him. Um, but I do feel kind of leaning towards, if we don't go with the 7-4 split, I would actually consider playing Steerman ahead of Olivier, and I hope he'll have a Philander like debut, because I think his type of movement and control with the ball would be more effective at Newlands. And the fact is, he at the pace Olivier is bowling now, Steerman will bowl quicker because Steerman can bowl at the high 150s, more like Rabada does at the moment. So that I actually wouldn't play Willie Fear at Newlands. I would either bling, bring Steerman in for Willie Fear as a straight swap and nothing else changes, or I would drop Willie Fear and bring in the seventh batsman if I see it as a lively pitch, and then I'd go with Ngidi, Rabada, and Janssen as our three paces with Keshoff.
I mean, that's exactly what I would do, and that's why I like Werner so much, because we think alike over here, Aditya. Aditya, I would ask you as a reverse one, because there's been people that have spoken about maybe bringing Sarl in as their extra batter, and moving Aiden down the order um, to 3 or 4. What are your thoughts on that happening? Because I think I'll do the same. I think if anybody gets dropped in this particular test match, it will be Olivier, in my opinion, for either the extra batter or Glenton Steerman. I think that would be the decision I'd make too. But there is another option, and that is Sarl either coming in the top order, maybe solidifying that top order a little bit, and then dropping Aiden Markram down the order to number 4, maybe. I think if he does come into the side, maybe number 4 is good for him, between Rassi and KP. But that's just my personal preference. What is your thoughts on that maybe happening?
See, I think the batting order should be as it is, and if there is an additional batter to come in at 7, and that should be Ryan Rickleton. I don't think it would be fair to have anyone else, um, just slot in there, because Keegan Peterson is also trying to establish his place in the team. So to dislodge him from 3, I think would be doing him a bit and the team quite a disservice. Uh, in saying that, assuming assuming they're not going for the 7-4 split, um, then I think Duan Olivier's place would be in trouble. But in saying that again, my question is for the management, that Duan Olivier was bowling in the nets before he was bowling in the game. If they felt like the impact that he created in the nets was similar to what he did in the game, then I don't think he should be dropped. I think that would be a bit unfair. Uh, but if he did, if he didn't meet the expectations of the management, then perhaps they can consider Brendan Searman, because you're giving John Olivier's place, who's come in to play international cricket after 3 or 4 years, and you drop him after one test match. I don't think that's fair either. Um, so yeah, I don't know. I think the real headache at this point is for the management,
Mm.
and they need to figure out what they're doing, because at the moment, it feels like they'd be doing a disservice to a player, and we don't know who that is.
Mm. They Do you think there's concerns though, Werner? Aditya, let me ask you this question actually. Playing Keshav in India, obviously on spinning tracks against a subcontinent side is obviously something that is mouth-watering to think of. But when it comes to South Africa, where it's not so spinner friendly necessarily, although Newlands is a lot more, do you does it bother you? Do you get like, I know we will get, if it's a spinner friendly wicket or spinner friendly wicket like in Cape Town, for example, I would be scared a little bit of Ashwin as a player, as a South African supporter, because that man can get turned out of anywhere. I mean, you saw him at the Wanderers even. He was bowling pretty damn decently, even in conditions that maybe don't suit you as a spinner. So if Newlands does um, give something in there for the spinners, I mean, wouldn't you as a India batter, used to spinning conditions, used to spinners, be okay to see Keshav being selected? Would it bother you more to see Keshav, or would it bother you more to see a Glenton Steelman get selected, for example?
Look, I think if if the Newlands offers, excuse me, if the Newlands offers even the slightest bit of turn, Keshav has to be playing there. I think Keshav would be the biggest threat. Um, and look, India plays a lot on turning wickets. India plays a lot of spinners. There's no doubt, but there's no there's a lot there's also a lot of respect for Keshav Maharaj as a spinner. I think didn't he get 5 wickets at the Wacker when he made his debut back in 2016? Um, so look, he's a quality spinner. He can, he can make an impact anywhere. Uh, but there's also another facet to it. In order for a spinner to succeed, a captain has to use him well. I thought Faf du Plessis used Keshav Maharaj brilliantly. And Dean Elgar is probably figuring out how to get the best out of Keshav. But I do think that that's an important part of a spinner's success. Like Nathan Lyon, for example, was brilliant under Michael Clark. Michael Clark just knew how to get the best out of a spinner, and that doesn't always work. Look, Nathan Lyon he's got what, like, one spinner friendly ground or two spinner friendly grounds in Australia, in Adelaide and Sydney, but he still got over 400 Test wickets. So, I'd say the same for Keshav. He has tremendous potential to do well in South Africa, but you know, the management and the captain have to find a way of getting the best out of him.
Unmute. He's done. If I look at his stats, he's done significantly better away from home than at home. So if I look at in his matches bowling at home, so between 2016 and 2022, he's played 21 matches, 37 innings. He's taken 52 wickets with a best of 5 for 59, 9 for 225, and an average of 37.23 and an economy rate of 3.39. When you look at his matches away from home, in 17 matches, 31 innings, he's taken 77 wickets at an average of 29.90, almost, well, 30, and an economy rate of 3.05. Best of 12 for 283 and 9 for 129. So when it comes to bowling in South Africa compared to bowling overseas, there is a massive difference between Keshav's ability with the ball. Do we feel that the question is going to be, do we feel he can add enough value at Newlands? For me, actually, the bigger question is, what will South Africa do? If they trusted him at the Wanderers and at Centurion when there was nothing in it for him, it would baffle me if they suddenly drop him at Newlands. It wouldn't make sense to me, because then what was their reasoning for keeping him in the side in the first place? It should still be the same reason for Newlands, with extra positivity involved with it too, or extra options involved in it too, or extra reasons, stronger reasons for you to want to keep him too. So it is going to be a question to the management ultimately, because I don't see them going into Newlands without a spinner. It's just doesn't seem right. And George Linder hasn't been seen in the setup. Hasn't been looked like they are going to be trusting him with that ability, even though that is the stats say he's better at the bat than maybe Keshav. But yeah, I'm just going to be looking at it as is. And right now, um, who will be the question will be: will it be Dwan Olivier as a bowler or Keshav that will get more out of the wicket? And like Werner said, the wicket's going to count. It's going to be the deciding factor on who they're going to line up with. So I hope they do their homework properly. I hope they check out the square. I hope they have conversations with the groundsman and the ground staff as well to find out um, what is truly going to happen at Newlands, what type of wicket they're going to be presented with, as well as what the weather will be. Because overcast conditions generally at Newlands, particularly the ball swings a lot off the seam, etc. And ah, in that cases, I hope that we don't bat first because Shami is going to tear us apart. I feel at Newlands. I think he's going to be at his best at Newlands. I think we really need to be very wary of how we play him at Newlands. But let's just wrap this up. Let's get your final thoughts, Werner, and final thoughts, Aditya. Aditya, I didn't ask you anything on India yet, so you can just basically have your say on India as well.
Yeah, you're talking about Shami. I think Bumrah kind of wants to stamp his authority because he was good in the first game, he was okay in the second game. I think he wants to really probably try and pitch up in this third game. So I would be wary about him coming good. So yeah, as I said, I think the pitch is going to dictate probably what we play. I think heading into it, I expect our selectors to not make any changes after we won at the Wanderers, and with Keshav will probably be more important at Newland. So I don't think we're going to have a change in 11. I just want to see us play with the same kind of batting intent that we played with in that last innings at the Wanderers. I think if we can maintain that positive intent, especially somebody like Rossi, because sometimes he gets bogged down and then eventually he gets out, and it just doesn't look good. But the moment he has a positive intent, he starts moving his feet, he starts getting in behind the ball, he starts looking just a lot better. So I think all our batsmen actually look a lot better with some positive intent combined with good leaving. Like always, the test batting disciplines, the basics are leave well, play the ball underneath your eyes, wait for it, and then take any scoring opportunity you get. So I think if we do the basics well, it should go well. I think we do have the batting that can do well against India. We know we do have the bowlers that can do well as well. I think something that's very important that has been bothering me is this first two tests. Every day, the first session, our bowler looked lackluster in the first hour. And we can't afford this in a game that is do or die. We need our bowlers to hit their straps from the word go. We can't go an hour of bowling too wide or too full or too short and have India at 64 without loss after the first hour. We need to hit our straps and get right at them the moment we have that ball in our hand. So I hopefully all that talk with Rabada and the rest of the guys that want to have that talk will hit their straps from the beginning. We'll see them running in hard, bowling in consistent areas, especially if it ends up not being as lively a pitch as it has been in the past. Then it's even more important to plug away in an area, frustrate the batsman. I'm just saying stuff that they already know, but things that they just need to implement. So I'm not saying anything new. I'm not a coach. I'm just an observer from what I know about cricket, from my experience and what I've seen. So I just want us to do the basics well, have positive intent, and give it our all, obviously.
I mean that hour session is going to be the most important. I saw at Newlands, if you don't take wickets in that opening before before lunch, it can be very tricky to get wickets afterwards. Especially if the heat is going to be the way it looks like it's going to be 29, 30 degrees in Cape Town for that week of the test. So that sun is going to bake on that track and it's just going to get easier to bat on. But that first half an hour, that first hour to half an hour to an hour is going to be so key. But Aditya, let's get your thoughts on India. Um, are you comfortable with the way India has played spin recently? Do you think that Keshav can get at them if there's something in the wicket?
Look, if India is used to playing on ranked turners, and for all the turn that the Newlands might be able to generate, I don't think it's going to be close to a ranked turner. But in saying that, I think Keshav can still be a wicket taking option for Dinagar. Um, India, I think the obvious changes will be Kohli in for Hanuma Vihari, and I'd imagine that Siraj won't be playing this Test match, um, and maybe for the extra pace, they might bring in Umesh Yadav. Um, it seems like that's the route that India might go, and I think that's okay. It's Umesh Yadav is one of those guys who can hit 150 as well. And he's extremely fit. He can bowl long spells. He's like he's the designated workhorse of the Indian team. So um, I think he'd be a great addition to the team. But in saying that, I think India will be hungry to win in Cape Town. Because they will feel like they want to make amends from the New Year Test match in 2018, when they did have South Africa on the ropes at 12 for 3 on the first day, but then they let it slip. So I do think that this time around they want to make amends.
And what about Ishan Sharma? I have to ask about him. The, the height, of course. We saw how Morne Morkel was completely devastating against Australia at Newlands. I think he took 10 wickets in that particular match. Um, what's your thought on him? Maybe the extra bounce, make extra height. I know Newlands is maybe not known for the height, for the bounce like Centurion and Wanderers, etc. But what do you think about him? Maybe, especially maybe to get someone like Dean Alga out early.
You know, I'm a fan of Ishan Sharma. I like watching him bowl, but in recent years he's lost quite a bit of pace. So he's bowling in the mid 130s. And he crosses 140 occasionally. And my guess is that they'd probably want to see uh, Kohli would probably want to see additional pace in the lineup. And if that's the route that he goes, then I think Umesh Yadav is a better option. Because he can bowl fast consistently, and so yeah, I think I'm a fan of Ishan Sharma, but I think Umesh Yadav would be a better option.
It's funny with you talking about him losing pace now only the mid 130s, which is basically where all our bowlers are bowling right now.
That's why I was
with,
laughing as
with
well.
with Henri
And
Cloutier not being there, I'm really looking forward to having him back, hopefully for the New Zealand series.
Yeah, you.
there's a lot of hype about Kohli playing his 100th Test soon. It was supposed to be the Cape Town Test, but um, there's quite a lot of hype about Kohli's 100th Test. Ishant Sharma is a veteran. He's crossed 100 tests. He's been around since 2007. Which is unbelievable for a fast bowler. For a fast bowler in this day and age to play over 100 tests um, is commendable, and yeah, a lot of respect for him.
It definitely is. I think that the fans are going to go wild in Kohli's 100th test if it's at Bangalore, so that should be crazy.
So, guys, that's our preview for the game. I'm hoping that South Africa win this one and can complete their unbeaten record against India, because I really want to beat India. I don't want to lose this record against them. I think that the fight and the momentum comes from South Africa. They're going into they've continuously gotten better and better, even though they've lost Quinton in the middle of a series, which I knew they were going to lose, but not. I don't think they knew they were going to lose him forever. I think that this thought they're going to lose him for 2 matches or a match or so. But that's a massive blow. So I think they're going into with momentum into the next game, because that chase it was a very good batting performance from South Africa, and I have to commend our captain specifically. We needed to come to the party. So I'm just hoping that maybe Newlands is Markram time. He hasn't scored runs in this particular series, good runs in the series. So I think Newlands would be a nice place for him to do so. I think the wicket suits a batter like him. It's just that opening spell. I just want that opening team to protect. Dean Alger needs to face majority of Shami in that opening spell. I'm a bit worried about Shami at Newlands if they do, in fact, bowl first. If it's the other way around, in South Africa bat second, then by all means, I'm a lot more comfortable. But also, we need to look at what's best with regards to the conditions for the toss to decide what is going to happen first. The wicket's going to depend on what happens in this particular test match 100%. I think that is key, because I think a lot of people are not necessarily very comfortable with understanding what the Newlands wicket will provide. So guys, thanks a lot for tuning in. Hope you guys enjoyed this episode. Don't forget to smash the subscribe button, click that notification bell for all future videos as well. Don't forget to subscribe to Cricket Fanatics magazine monthly. Every issue is 100% free in your inbox. Tomorrow we're going to do a little fun show where you guys get to pick your 11. So you guys must get into your super chats. Remember that your super chats will count to overrule the other super chats. You can outbid for the people that you want within the team. Remember the rules, guys, that we first and foremost will just first pick an 11 and then the bidding process starts. So I don't want the bidding to come in before that, because it just makes it so complicated. So we'll discuss that a little bit more tomorrow on tomorrow's daily show. But thanks a lot for tuning in on a Sunday. Hope you guys enjoyed the episode, and we'll see you guys again very, very soon. Tomorrow, in fact, for another daily show. Take care, everybody. And I hope you have an amazing, amazing week. And from strength to strength, and you keep on growing and have a lot of fun too, even though a lot of you have started work already. So enjoy the rest of your week. Peace.